All right, Chris Popper here in Bangor. I'm joined by Coach Mark Shields in Bar Harbor, as we are every Monday during football season. And football season continues because the MDI Trojans finished #1 in Class B North, the 8-man conference, thanks in part to Waterville losing, which was pretty nice of them to do that. So that way the playoffs run through Bar Harbor. Um, Talk a little bit about the game against Lake Region, if you would. It was a little bit interesting. I mean, you're without a couple of your two-way starters with um, Eden Grant out and your son out. I mean, so it proved a little difficult.
Yeah, for sure, Chris. We knew going into this game that we'd need some guys to step up to get the win, and we were fortunate enough that we did have some guys, step in. And I think of a guy, Logan Blanchette. Logan, he played our 4-back on offense, and he was one of our defensive backs on defense. And he's done that for the last couple of weeks on defense with Jacob Shields out, and he did a nice job. He made some plays when we needed him to, and there were some other guys that Evan McKenzie is another guy that started linebacker for us and did a nice job. And it was just one of those games where we were thinking we just need to figure out a way to win this thing. It doesn't have to be pretty, and it wasn't at times, but we need the victory and to get ourselves in a better spot for the playoffs. And it was Waterville dropped a game to Camden, which, not surprised, Camden's a good football team, and they're getting hot at the right time. So there'll be all our focus this week, getting ready for them.
You look back on the game, and Lake Region chose to receive the ball, and then it was like one of those classic MDI drives of the past. I mean, I was talking to Paul True, who was up in the press box with me. He said that was their best drive of the season, and it was a 17-play drive that took 6:41. And I mean, you were basically getting the ball for the first time with almost half the quarter gone. It was vintage MDI, and it had to be a little uncomfortable on the sideline thinking, oh my God, someone stop these people.
Yeah, and me being the defensive coordinator.
Right. Yeah, I don't want to bring that up, right?
Yeah. That, I might have had some other adjectives in there, but I mean, they came right out in their I formation, and they started giving the ball to their fullback right from the get-go, which we hadn't seen that from them all season. And I think he was a kid that stepped in because they had some injuries too.
They were without their two starting running backs.
Yeah, so the kids they put in there did a real nice job, and they were ripping off some big yards just straight ahead. We were sitting in our 3-man front, and we quickly had to adjust. I put us in our 4-man front, which helped a little bit, but they still scored, and then they got the 2-point conversion. And right after they scored, I said to the staff, well, we're in a dogfight now. This is exactly what we didn't want. Fortunately, Spencer Lorendo was able to bust, the kickoff.
80-yarder was beautiful. What a beautiful run back. They took it right from the 20-yard line right into the end zone.
Right. So that, helped us get the momentum going on our side. And, it was back and forth most of the day. And, fortunately, we were able to get up a couple of scores, but they never gave up. Hats off to Lake Region. They never quit. And it was their senior day and their last regular season game, their last game of the year, and we knew it was going to be tough. And it was pretty warm down there for late October.
67 degrees.
Yeah, so I think that played a part. There's always a different feel for a Saturday game too. We did persevere, and we were able to get the victory. And Waterville dropped that game to Camden, so that propelled us into first place, which we were pleased about. now we get ready for the playoffs.
You got to give Lake Region credit. I mean, they had a couple of beautiful touchdown passes and receptions, and I think the second to last one, I'm just trying to look here. It was Gibbons to, oh no, it was to Jackson Libby, who was being covered beautifully by the MDI defensive back, but he made just an outstanding one-handed catch, keeping his feet in play. And boy, I'll tell you, what a beautiful grab that was.
Yeah, it was a great ball by their quarterback and a great catch by their receiver. And, we had a guy in position, but, they were able to make a play. That's almost one of those, what they call 50-50 balls. And their kid, to his credit, went up and grabbed it. And that was a big score because, once again, it just kept them in the game. They kept hanging around, and we weren't going to be able to sub. We weren't going to be able to put our younger kids in and rest our older kids. We're going to have to keep fighting, and they forced us to do that right to the end. I mean, we had our starters in right when the clock hit 0. So,
right.
It was honestly what I expected down there that day.
Let me tell you, the other thing too is that, I will compliment you, and I know we've talked about this in the past. I mean, you guys had an opportunity to score with a minute left to go in the game, and you took 3 knees. And I know that Paul True was commented up in the press box what a classy play calling that was. And there's no need to run it up, and that's something that MDI has been known for as long as I've done the games, which have bordering on 15 years, is that MDI will not run up the score and will take knees, and regardless of who can score or how much time it is, you just don't do that.
Yeah, you're right, Chris, and thank you for that. I do pride myself on that. I know my staff does, and I always have. I've had scores run up on me before, and it's demoralizing. It doesn't do anybody any good. I mean, there's multiple reasons why. I mean, the biggest reason is you just don't do it because it's unethical. I've never believed in it. You have the victory in hand, just take the knee. But also there's a chance of injury. I've never understood why coaches will leave their starters out there when they're up, whatever big, and it's getting late in the game. Other than maybe padding their kids' stats, but you're really taking a chance having your starters out there, and somebody could get hurt. Friday Night Lights, Boobie Miles. If you ever see that movie, Boobie Miles was their star running back for Permian, and he ended up staying in the game. It wasn't the coach wanted to leave him in there, but in the movie, his backup couldn't find his helmet. So Boobie Miles goes back in the game, and Boobie Miles ends up getting hurt, and it almost ruined their season. And so, that's another side point. But for me, it's all about ethics and morals, and I just don't believe in it, and I never have.
Well, I'm proud to be associated with you, 90% of the time, and especially when you do things like that. I mean, it's just,
I have many flaws, but
it's noticed by many people, not your flaws, but the fact that you will not run up the score, and it's nice to see. So Friday night, 7:00, Camden Hills has to travel the 2+ hours down to the island. It's nice that everyone will be able to enjoy home cooking and have the dinner ahead of time. But one of the great things has been in the past is that the MDI faithful have turned out, and they've always been that 12th man on the field. Well, now we don't need him to be the 12th man. We need him to be the 9th man.
Right. If we could get a big crowd out Friday night, it looks like it's going to be a good football night. I mean, I don't think we're going to get rained on. It's going to be crisp, but it's going to be perfect football weather. And we're going to need it. Camden Hills like we said before, they're getting hot at the right time. They just knocked off Waterville. They almost beat Morse. So they're already, in my mind, they're in playoff form for sure. And I believe we are as well. I think it's going to be a great football game to watch. It could come down to a few big plays. I mean, I think we're that close with this team. We'll see Friday night. But, yeah, I think it's going to be exciting. Both teams can put a lot of points on the board. And, we're just hoping that our side has a few more points on it than theirs. And, we can steal a victory here. So.
Well, it's been a couple of down years for MDI football. It's nice to be back into the playoffs, and congratulations to you, your staff, and the boys. They've worked hard since the preseason, before the preseason. I mean, it starts in November with lifting and things of that sort, but they've worked hard, and you've worked hard, and your staff has worked hard, and hopefully we'll continue on for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, that would be nice for sure. And yeah, you're right. We do have some guys that, so-called gym rats that, they lift weights. They hit the weights hard, and, doing this as many years as we have, we know that late in the season, that really does mean a lot, because of injury. And, the stronger team obviously is going to have, probably the benefit of the victory many times, because they can withstand, the punishment of, their opponents. So we'll hope that helps us this Friday night.
All right, Coach. Have a good week. We'll talk to you on Thursday as we get ready for Friday night's game, and stay dry this week.
Yeah, thanks, Chris.